All right, and we are live back again for a very exciting podcast, MMA versus AI. How's it going, Pavan?
We're going to take down the champion, light heavyweight champion, King Mo. I'm calling him out. We're going to take him down. Let's play the intro reel. Let's get everyone pumped. Come on, Angel.
All
You can do
right,
it.
yeah. If you didn't get a chance to see the previews on social media, we'll set the stage here for everyone.
Hey, King Mo just joined the call. There he is, ready for the fight. He's connecting. Wait until he connects before you hit play.
Okay, just let me know.
Yeah.
The suspense is killing us all.
King Mo, can you hear us? His video is off, but I know he was having some technical problems. Go ahead and hit play while he's figuring out that. Internet.
My name is Pavan Agarwal. People know me as King Mo in MMA.
So I was actually brave enough to get into that cage with King Mo. You're on mute.
You were brave enough to get in that cage and in jeans.
And in jeans, yeah.
I was in jeans. Dodged the bullet, man.
I did. You know, it was a rough. I mean, you're tough.
But okay, I know I'm tough. I've been training. I've been in this game for 12 years. Combat sports, coaching, wrestling, and pro wrestling. I did it all. How did you beat me? What did you do? What was it? Was it a supplement you took, or was it a performance enhancing drug? What did you take? There's no way you beat me. How? Explain yourself.
First of all, say no to drugs, kids. No drugs. That's number one. Number two, the truth is, it's mind over matter, and bro, you got hustled. You got hustled. Because what I didn't tell you, man, is I spent over 20 years in Tibet learning Kung Fu with the monks.
Cheating. So
that's not cheating. You just got hustled.
But hold on. You didn't tell me. You told me, hey, I'm just doing AI. That's all. You know, I'm here to help with the mortgages and everything with AI. I thought I was gonna hustle you. You came to my house, and I'm like, hey, yeah, mortgage loans are great. Yeah. How about some MMA action? Let's step foot in the cage. And you took my challenge. I don't know how you learned jujitsu and stand up and all that stuff in that fast, but AI is a cheat code. It's not fair.
Well, you know, the thing is, nothing is fast. Learning takes a long time. So I spent more than 20 years with the Tibetan monks teaching me Kung Fu and all of these things and how to levitate and everything. I learned it all. So let me just show you. Let me show you a little bit of the training. Go ahead, Angel.
Let's see.
Wait, hold on a second, Angel. Don't hit play yet. It's still loading. The Zoom is slow, man. There you go. Now hit play.
Combat training. Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu.
Mikey, I think he likes it. How about some more? Hell yes.
You see, that's how AI does it. You just stick it in your brain and you go.
That easy.
That easy.
So you mean tell me the 12 hard years I put in, bleeding, sweating, crying, cutting weight, lifting weights, dieting. It just took you that much time to, and then 20 years of training to get out of here. Get out of here, man.
Well, okay. All right. Well, just to convince everyone that this fight really happened. All right. And you're going to be able to see the whole fight on pay-per-view later this month. But we'll show a little bit of it. Just going to show like 40 seconds of the fight. Angel, whenever you're ready. I'm sorry, King Mo. I know it's embarrassing, but you got defeated. The champion. But it's still loading. Let's get the video loaded.
Yeah, that's good, Angel. Keep it slow so we don't have to watch this embarrassment. Yeah, I don't want to watch this.
All right, let's go. Let's hit.
Ah.
And all with a smile on your face. Come on.
Yes, get on. Yeah, that's right there. Look. Uh-huh. Yes, see? Yes, see, it's all bleach. Oh no. Oh no.
See, I even learned how to turn my head all the way around.
Yeah, that's it. Don't they call you the owl in the ring?
That's my fighting name, the owl.
Ooh. Who wants to fight you? Nobody.
No, but the truth of the matter is you and I did step in the cage, and we did have some fun, and you did teach me a few things. And we're gonna release that full video later this month on social media. You guys stay tuned. Make sure you like and follow. Hit the subscribe button, press the like and follow button, because this stuff is so much fun.
And also remember, we are live. So if you're watching live, we'll be keeping an eye on that chat. You can ask your questions for Pavan and King Mo as we go, and we'll make sure they get answered.
All right. So I'm gonna have to break it to the audience. There wasn't a real fight. Okay, but
wait, what?
that was all made up, right? We just took some video clips and sliced that together. None of that was real. Okay, that's not how AI works. You don't plug in something to your brain and you learn something.
Only if it was that easy.
So it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Life is hard work and commitment, and AI is trained with years and decades of data and slow, meticulous hard work, just like the way King Mo trained his whole life. So tell us a little bit about fighting and what it means to be a fighter. And I guess you've retired from fighting now, right? Now you're fully a coach.
Yeah. So being a fighter, how I see it is, there are many ways of fighting. I was a fighter in the cage, so I did it physically. It's mentally tough, physically tough. There are good days, there are bad days, there are days you win, there are days you lose. But it's grueling on the body. It's not easy. It's grueling on the mind. It's something that everybody can do, yet we all do it in one way or another. You know, like I fight in the cage. I also fight to wake up early. Sometimes I fight to eat healthy. Everybody has different battles. We all have different battles. We all have different ways of attacking these battles or winning these battles. So pretty much in a short sense, like my life and fighting go hand in hand. You know, so the lessons I learned from fighting, I apply today in life.
So the other piece of spoiler alert for everyone is, don't worry, it doesn't get any easier. The fighting never ends.
Never ends, never stops.
Yeah.
As long as you're breathing, you're fighting.
And what in your darkest moments, when it was like the toughest fights, or when you lost a fight, how did you get past through that mindset to
Well-
get up and do it again?
Well, the thing is, how I took things a little differently. So I thought of like, when I won, it wasn't much. When I won, I didn't celebrate wins. Because I expected to win. When I lost, I actually celebrated those because I found a way to get better. Because you're not perfect. No one's unbeatable. But when you finally lose, you found a way to improve and shore up the hole, or clean the hole, or close the hole in your game. You know, because everyone has a hole in their game, but it just takes that right person to expose that hole. So when I lose, I'm like, okay, I'm not invincible. Somebody figured me out. Time to change things up a little bit and get better where I was weaker at.
Okay. And so how's fighting training evolved in the last 10, 20 years from when you started to where it is now?
Well, it's evolved immensely. So even before me, the way guys used to train, some guys would train wearing like, MMA gloves. They would wear like small, knee pads, and they would fight each other with minimal protection. So you started seeing people get knocked out in training, getting head kicked, cuts, bad injuries. Then as my generation came up, we realized, hey, maybe you didn't go that hard. But at the same time, we were going hard. There are guys that are my age that have CTE, that have brain damage from not training smart, not training correctly, not taking care of your body, not taking care of your head and your mind. And now today, my generation that's coaching, we know about the CTE, brain trauma, and the concussions, and the concussion therapies and concussion protocols. So we're hip onto that. So we're like, you know what? Train smart. Don't fight where it doesn't matter, because practice is just practice. If you come in practice, you fight, you leave all the fight in practice, and you'll have nothing left for the fight. So I tell people, hey, let's be smart. Let's try to improve on our weak spots and improve on our strong spots and keep the gap wider. And let's try to take care of ourselves, because if you go into a fight injured, there's a great chance you might not win.
That makes sense. And I like what you said is figure out your weak spots and train on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when you go in the ring and you lose a fight, then you focus on what did you learn from that loss. And I think the same thing applies in business. I think a lot of people, you take hits in business all the time. And people get discouraged and they give up, when really they should stop and say, okay, what can I learn from that loss? And where do I need to improve, and what I need to focus my training on? Not just dwelling on what I did wrong, but then say, okay, how do I focus on the training that I need to fill in that hole?
So let me ask you this: when you have losses in business, or you have bad deals go wrong, or how would you bounce back? What was your mindset?
That's a good question. My personal mindset is, I'll feel bad for about a couple hours. It's like, it's human. You're going to feel bad for a little bit. When something goes wrong, it's going to bother you. And usually a couple hours, maybe, worst case a day. And you just got to clear your head, walk it off, shake it off. And then for me, it's like I forget really fast. I forget the past very quickly. And it's funny, it's like Jennifer or Anthony would remind me of something like, hey, do you remember this? I'm like, I don't even remember. Right. So I forget bad things and bad events and bad people, it's just like it just gets erased from my memory, and I just move forward. And I think it's like I didn't train myself to forget. It's just the way I am. And I think that's the superpower. Actually, it's just the fact that you can forget and just move on.
So let me ask you this: because as a fighter, when you're backstage and warming up, there are times like not with me as much, but I've seen fighters where I'm warming them up, and then all of a sudden I can see doubt creeping their mind, and they start doubting themselves, and they go out there unconfident. Has there been any time going into a business deal that you felt unconfident on the decision you made?
All the time.
Really?
I'd be lying if I said that I can go into a deal. The problem is most deals you make, most decisions you make, you don't have all the information. And that's what separates a businessman from an engineer. Engineer does all the math, has all the information, and then designs a part or a component or whatever, right? So and now analyzes everything, runs models, and everything, and says, okay, we're going to do this. In business, it's very nonlinear, and there's a lot of lacking information, so you never know. Right? So you do the best you can, do the research, do the study as much as you can. And there's a lot of people who get into analysis, what they call analysis paralysis, is they'll never stop studying. So they'll never make a decision, right? And the reason they'll never stop studying is because they don't realize that you'll never have all the data. There's always another rock to unturn and look under and so forth, right? So eventually you've got to make a gut decision, and you always start with the first basic question, right? Is what I'm about to do right or wrong? Is it morally and ethically right or wrong? Right? If you have a good who's right, okay, then you're like 99% of the fight is already won. Okay, so, and it's hard to get mixed up with what's right or wrong, because there's so many other factors at play. Like you got to deliver profits, you got to take care of people, so many things happening, so many pressures on you. So usually the right decision, the right road is always the harder decision to make.
So a lot of moving parts. So I can say it's like fighting, because in fighting, I know my opponent, I can study him, but at the same time, he could come out with a right hand lead, and I could be studying that for 6 weeks. Come fight time, he switch stances and have a left leg lead, a left hand lead. So like it's kind of like pretty much a lot of moving parts and a lot of variables. It can come down to a man's personality you're dealing with, So it's a lot of it's pretty unpredictable in a sense. Predictable yet unpredictable.
Yes, that's exactly right. Just like in a fight, so many things that are unpredictable. You don't know what your opponent is going to do when you actually get in there. And if you simply rely on everything you studied about your opponent and you're trying to analyze that, then you're going to lose the fight, because you're stuck in the past. You eventually, it's like business, like any other sport. You got to let go and just go with the what you feel the flow of the universe. Just go with that flow that you feel, right? You'll feel that vibration, you go with it, and you'll know how to adjust.
So have there been any people where you've not got not bad read, but like you work them and just they're iffy in a sense, and you come with your best and just things that mesh. How did you take that? Did you take that as failure, or did you bounce forward?
That's just part of business, right? And it's just going to happen. You can't say that every time you go to work. You go to work with somebody, to do a deal with somebody, or whatever it is, like whether it's someone you're working with as a partner, as a business partner, you're working with as an employer-employee relationship, right, or a vendor relationship. There is no guarantee. It could be good. Usually, almost every time, it's good people on both sides, and good intention on both sides. But it doesn't mean there's going to be a fit. Happens all the time, right? In fact, the odds are against you.
So I have a question for you. When it comes to dealing with people, like, so if it's fighting, if I'm watching film, say I'm watching film on you and you have a great jab, I'm going to come up with a plan to counter your jab. Are there any people you've done business with where you're like, okay, I know his habits. Let me use his habits against him so I can, get up on him or get over on him with the deal? Has it ever happened?
Yeah, I never analyzed a deal that way. It's interesting, it's like, okay, in the fighting paradigm, you're going to look at, okay, it's a one-on-one real, like, it's a win. One person's going to win, one person's going to lose, right? Yeah. Right. In the sport, it's like that. But in business, a good business deal, it isn't where one person wins, one person loses. A good business deal is both people win. Right. So, and if you're doing a business deal where you're going to win and the other is going to lose, okay, that's going to blow up in your face. That's not the definition of capitalism. It's not the definition of serving your community. Mm-hmm. Right. That those are things that lead to bad behavior, and usually they're morally unethical and often illegal when you start going down that path. Right. So you're not playing poker with your customers and your partners,
So how do you get prepared? So for me, right, I like coming. I know my home, I scout them. I have about 6 to 8 weeks to train for them. I get in shape, I eat clean, and I prepare for battle. What do you do going into a business deal? Or do you like word games? Do you meditate, visualization? What do you do to get yourself ready for battle?
I wouldn't even call it battle as such. It is a routine. It is every single day. Like, if I look at my mailboxes, there are 100 things being thrown at me at the same time. And there's 100 different decisions that have to be made. So it's a series of little decisions that you're doing all the time that lead up to a bigger outcome. Right. Yeah. So what is more important is to have a healthy and calm state of mind. So each decision is the right decision. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that leads up to a series of right decisions, and you do a bigger, and you make progress forward. Okay. So it's about saying, and I think the most important thing in business is, how do you best use your time? Okay. Just like training, you got to eat right, and you got to, spend so many hours training, and you got to train on the right areas, right? It's all time management. Well, the same thing when you're running a business is it's time management. Where do you focus your attention on?
Efficiency, pretty much.
It's efficiency. It's not wasting your time on things that make you feel productive, but you're not. I see a lot of people make that mistake. You have to stop and count and say, okay, if I'm going to, I like what Bill Pipe said. I'm going to take one of his lines from the podcast we did with him a couple of weeks ago. He said, if your goal is to make $1 million this year, and you do the math backwards, right, that's about $500 an hour. So you have to stop and say, okay, what am I doing right now? Is this am I making $500 an hour to do this? Right. If the task I'm doing is not have $500 of value, then I shouldn't be doing it. Then you got to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Okay. So that's how you got to look at it. So the decisions you make have to lead to a larger outcome, or the outcome that you want. Right? It's not, whatever business you're in, it's not, it's not always about money. If you're in the business of helping, if you're running a nonprofit or helping people, or you're training, coaching, right? And it's not necessarily counting money, but you're counting on results. What are the results you are counting, right? So if you're training a champion to go into the ring, you have to say, okay, is the 5 minutes I spend right now training him, is that going to lead to the maximum result for him to win that championship? Right. So those are decisions you make on a continuous basis. Mm-hmm. Right. So it isn't quite like Hollywood, where everything sort of dramatic music and everything kind of comes into one conference room, boardroom meeting and negotiating to a final make it or break it kind of deal. It doesn't generally, every once in a while something like that does happen, but it generally doesn't work that way. Generally, it's just a lot of daily, continuous, nonstop prep. You're prepping all the time. You're making small decisions and doing small things that lead up to bigger things. So by the time you are in the boardroom, by the time you're going in for the quote unquote kill for the deal, right? You shouldn't walk into a deal meeting without knowing what the outcome is going to be. When you walk into that final deal meeting, you should know that I'm going to walk out with the deal. If you're not, then you haven't prepared properly.
So let me ask you another question real quick. Has there been, like, for instance, in fighting, there's been times I fought someone I couldn't stand them, hated them. Has there been any time where you actually did business with someone after meeting them for the first time, you just couldn't stand them, and you're like, oh my gosh, should we go through this deal? What should I do?
Well,
I'll plug my ears for this one. You can tell him, Pavan.
that's a good question. There's not a lot of people. I can't even remember the last person that I don't like. There's people that, huh?
Has there been anyone you spoke to them with respect and they come at you kind of funny at all? Or?
But then you just don't deal with them.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If
how will we fight them?
Yeah,
we fight them.
Yeah. You just, like, in your case, you got to go in the ring with them anyways. You got to fight them anyways. In business, you just don't. It's like if someone comes to you to be a client, a student, to be coached by you, and the guy just doesn't feel right to you, you just won't take him as a client.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes the best deals you do are the ones that you don't do.
Man, this is, I see the correlation between business and fighting. I like it.
Yeah. There's, I think any kind of sport, especially any kind of competitive sport, it gets you mentally ready for business, because especially fighting, like you learn to take a hit, and you're going to take hits, and mental hits are harder than physical hits, right? So the human mind can recover from physical pain pretty quickly, but for a mental pain, it doesn't recover. It takes a long time to recover. It's a very slow process, right? So you gotta, the thing is, you got to put this titanium shield around your brain so that no one can hit you hard enough to cause you mental pain. Right. So if you walk into the ring, for example, and you just don't like the guy and you're angry and your emotions are running wild, right? It's probably a fight you're going to lose, I'm guessing.
True.
Yeah.
It's very true. You have to have your, you have to have your mind and emotions checked, because if you're out there too hot and heated, you could either 1, into a trap, 2, gas out, or 3, just be outclassed without knowing. It's like the emperor has no clothes on. You might think you're the man until you step in the cage and then lock the cage, and then you find out you're not the one. You're the one to get beat up, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah, and I've seen business deals go bad on the same premise. You go in hot. Right. You go in hot might not necessarily mean that you're angry, but you go in. I've seen deals go really bad because you're excited. That's when the most money gets lost. Right. The famous was business case of Quaker Oats purchasing Snapple for $1 billion. Right. They went in so excited, and they overpaid by about $900 million for Snapple. Right. And it almost put the company under. Right. So those are examples of going in hot in business. Is you get your emotions played upon, and when you have those emotions out there, right, your trading partner could take advantage of that. If they know you're excited, they're going to take advantage of that, and you're going to get a bad deal out of it. So there's you know, the business school books are filled with cases of people going in hot. Either, you know, usually they're hot because they're too excited about a deal. And in real estate, I see that with retail home buyers. Right? They get too excited about a property that they want, and they end up overpaying for it.
Speaking aside, like so like when you created AngelAi, like how did that feel? Like what, like were you in a rush to put it out to the masses, or did you have to, like, you know, hold back and like try to perfect things? What was your plan with that?
I didn't quite catch the question. Can you say it one more time?
Okay, so when you first started AngelAi, like it created, how or came up with the concept, how excited were you? Did you have to find yourself, like did you have to talk to yourself like, hey, let me slow this down, or were you like, hey, let's go gung ho, and like how did you? What was your process when you started this or created this?
That's a good question. So I think it goes back to what I said earlier, which is it was created a little bit at a time over a long period of time. And I didn't know, like over 10 years ago, I didn't know exactly how this would come out. All I knew was I'm going to automate, I'm going to build good AI. And then it all coming together through the chat interface. That all happened about 4 years back, 5 years now. Okay, where I realized that the chat interface was the way to go. Okay, so, and that was at a time when chat was considered obsolete. That was a time when chat was considered like a platform that you know has had its time has come and gone. Right. But when I modeled it and we tested it, and we're like, no, this is just the beginning. This isn't the ending of chat. People just not haven't been using it right. And we figured out how to, and when we realized that if you plug in chat to AI, that it is the best combination. It's the most intuitive way. Then it was like, when I saw it, when I experienced it for myself, I'm like, hey, this is amazing. Then it was like, okay, you know, everything that I was doing for the past 10 plus years was right. I'm so glad I was on that path. Okay. And this was sort of like, it was kind of the aha moment, right? Like, hey, it's all come together. It's come to a single focal point, and we've got an amazing product. So it was.
Sorry to cut you off.
No.
What year was it when it all came together and it all culminated and you're like, you know what, that's it. Aha, I got it.
That was like 2018-ish, when we first about 2018 when we first rolled it out, first early version. And I played with it myself, and I'm like, this is amazing. So from there, it's like we just been building and building, and once I realized that we had found the right solution, then it was just, okay, pour all the resource in here, build it as fast as I can, and you know, then it's continued on the product development, the communicating the product, the branding, getting people to understand it, right? So the best thing that happened for us was ChatGPT, because you know, a year ago when I presented the product at a big conference, people were still scratching their head. Literally a year ago, exactly to the date, no one had heard about ChatGPT, no one heard about AI, and they were still like, "What is he talking about?" And then, you know, right around last Christmas, you know, ChatGPT suddenly came, you know, and people think it's new. It's not. ChatGPT was around since like 2015.
Really?
Yeah, it's not new at all. Right. It's just like it just caught sort of momentum. last 8-10 months. So when ChatGPT came around, then all of a sudden people are saying, oh, wow, chat's the way to go. I'm like, okay, good. Now I don't have to, I was having to sell first on chat that no, everything you need to do through chat. I was trying to sell that concept. People thought I was crazy. What are you talking about? What do you mean you could do a whole loan file through chat? What do you mean you could do a real estate transaction through chat? You people thought I was insane. And then it goes to the next thing is, oh yeah, but then there's also AI. And they're like, what the heck is AI? How is that going to do anything, right? Because everyone had heard about it and that means something the military uses or something or the other, or seen some movie. No one really, the common, unless you're in engineering, the general population that never really used AI and didn't understand it. So ChatGPT coming onto the scene was like the best thing that could happen. It's like the two big objections, and not even objectives, two big things that people had to get educated on. It took that education off. So now it's just simply, hey, learn this. This product is got all of these capabilities, is ChatGPT and beyond. Because we've been doing it for so long and training it for so long. So what people don't understand about AI, the hard part about AI is the training process, is training it and having the right data for it. The actual bots, the stuff that does what seems like magic. There's so much of it out there. It's all readily available on the public domain.
Yeah. So let's talk about how AngelAi killed the masses. But I know this. With you, I never could help my mom out years ago when she was trying to purchase a house. Would you like to elaborate on that more?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kim, you're breaking up a lot. Is something with your Wi-Fi or something?
Am I breaking too?
Yeah. In the beginning of the call, your internet was really good.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's still choppy still, or?
It's a little choppy. Let's try something which may not be as cool, but try turning your video off and maybe the sound will come out clear then.
Okay.
How's
the sound?
Sounds better. That's better.
All right. Okay. Well, bye-bye to my pretty face.
Yeah, you can talk without your video and then come back on.
So back to the question, I know AngelAi helped my mom out years ago. She had a hard time getting a house. She did get remarried, but at the same time she still had a hard time because my stepdad he didn't have the best credit, and it wasn't like he's bringing in the most money. My mom was the breadwinner, and I feel like AngelAi could help her cut through a lot of the BS, and she got into a house a lot sooner. What made you come up with that concept? How did that click? Like, what made you? Was there anything like that made you think like, hey, you know what? I want to make these mortgage loans easier for people to attain.
Yeah. So being in the mortgage business and, all these years, 40 plus years, our main focus has been minority lending. And we've done so much of it. And I've seen so many people go through the kind of struggle your mom went through unnecessarily, is because lending in general is hard. There's so much regulations, there's so many requirements, and every bank and every mortgage bank, when you're lending, it's not your money, it's always somebody else's money, right? So when you're a fiduciary for somebody else's money, it's scary and it's risky, because if you do it wrong, then you get into a lot of trouble. So what happens is, that's why banks generally stay away and avoid minorities and lower income customers, because there's so much complexity there. It's so easy for them, for someone to point the finger at them and say, why do you do this loan? Look at this income problem, look at that credit problem, right? So banks would like to say, okay, I'm going to just work with the, you know, the top 2-3% of the population who have, you know, the best income, the best credit scores, the best savings, and I don't want to deal with the others. Because that's one way to solve the problem for the bank as far as liability, but the other problem is then you're leaving a whole bunch of people unserved. Okay, so the real solution is what you need is a machine that knows and understands all the regulations and all the requirements, so that anybody, whether they have perfect credit and perfect income documents and all these kind of things, or somebody who's had life events, you know, disabilities, you know, divorces, remarriages, this, that, so many things can happen in life that can make your financial profile complicated, or at least appear complicated. It's really not that complicated if you know what you're doing, but it can appear complicated for a lot of novice, for a lot of people who are not experts. And there are a lot of people in this business who are not experts, but think they are. Okay, so you know, if there's a machine that can just take everyone's paperwork, crunch through it, automatically read it, figure it out, and say, okay, here's the path. Here's a way through the regulatory maze, here's a way through the lending maze, and here's how we gonna get this person approved. Okay, so, and that's the machine that we built, and that takes, you know, it's taken, you know, just like your 10, 12 years of training, it's taken at least that long, if not longer, to build this, because there's so many rules and regulations in the process. So to answer, you know, more specifically for your mom, I believe if your mom had AngelAi, you know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when she tried to get a mortgage, I from what I know, I think she would have gotten it done like really fast, because the software, you know, from what I know of your mom's situation, the software would have run through all the possibilities and found the right solution. Right. And remember, I say software because remember, AI is nothing to be afraid of. It's just software at the end of the day. Just really fancy software.
So is it AngelAi compatible? Is it available in all 50 states? Can any real estate agent or anybody partner up with you guys in Alaska and to houses or find houses?
Yeah. So yes, AngelAi is available in all 50 states plus Puerto Rico and Virgin Island. The only place, the only U.S. territory that we haven't set up in is Guam and the U.S. Micronesia. So pretty much, you know, 99% of the U.S. population, it can help. And we do work with realtors and attorneys and consumers all over the country.
Yeah, so actually, if you go to swmc.com/fairlending, you can see really what the results of using AI in lending is, because across the board, Sunwest has been able to increase the approval rate, decrease the declines, so get more people approved. There's a bunch of information on that site, swmc.com/ I always do that, fair lending. You can see the data. It's really cool what we've been able to do with the help of AngelAi.
Now I'm going to put that link on the live chat. And basically there's a graph there that shows that for many minority groups, we've cut the decline rate down by as much as half. And so that means for every, you know, for like say in the Black community, for every 2 people that are declined, 1 person should not have been. And imagine the impact that has on communities across the country. Because the number one way to build wealth is through real estate. And if we just see the run up in real estate prices in the last couple of years, it really becomes clear. Like, hopefully prices don't fall. No one knows which way it's going to go, but in my personal experience, we own a lot of real estate. My family owns a lot of real estate, and my personal experience is the biggest, well, I have a lot of regrets, but some of my biggest regrets is when I've sold real estate. Made a lot of mistakes in life, and some of the biggest mistakes is every time I've sold real estate, thinking that the market's peaked or whatever, and this is it's not a great investment. And I sold some real estate, and I look back and I said, shoot, I should have kept it. So
my bad, the last question I have to leave you soon, but I think was in 2005, 2004 when the housing market crashed in Florida, and they had it also in Las Vegas, had it pretty much nationwide. Could AngelAi could it help ease that in any sense? Could it help help people find better loans to match their income, or can AI help ease the problem with the housing market?
Well, that question has a lot of moving parts to it. So first is, okay, when the market crashed, is the first question. First part of it is, why did it crash? So if AngelAi was being used before the market crashed, then it never would have crashed, because loans would have been made properly and not given to people who couldn't afford to repay them, right? So ultimately, the reason there was that big crash in 2008 was there was a lot of loans made to people who should not have received the loan because they didn't have what they call ability to repay. So it's a lender's responsibility to make sure that they don't get you in over your head. Right. It's always exciting when you see that house. That's when it goes back to what I said in the beginning about doing bad business deals because of emotions. Right. When you see that house and you're like, oh, I really want that house. This is so cool. I want to live here. Right. But can you afford it? Right. Just because, hey, if you can't afford that house, go look in a different market.
It just sucks all the fun right out of it.
Yes. You still have to be financially responsible. And the lenders and the banks were actually promoting bad behavior by encouraging people to buy things that they can't afford. Okay. And because the money was so readily available, and they were making fees for giving the money away and didn't care about what happened afterwards. Okay. So a product like AngelAi at that time would have said, no, you don't qualify. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you're declined for a particular purchase. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, that you're not worthy. It just means you're not ready yet. Okay, right. That you need to go and, everybody would love to have the latest Ferrari, but can you afford the latest Ferrari? Maybe you need to start with the Toyota Tercel, right? Get the job done, make some more money, save it up, and then, move up to a Lexus, and then,
Yeah.
So,
Take steps.
One of the reasons that sometimes people aren't ready is their credit, right? They don't have enough credit, or they have tarnished credit. So Pavan, can you share a little bit about what's to come, how AngelAi is going to be able to help with that?
Yes. So we are working on a release of AngelAi that will do credit repair. Yes.
Stop playing. People, you hear that, people. AI that does credit repair. Take my money.
But you don't have to take your money because it's free.
Yes. Yes.
It's
a free service. Yeah, we're coming out with a free service, credit repair, for so if you have an account that was in dispute, didn't get charged correctly, there's so many reasons. People, the whole credit process is very convoluted, and unless and this is really a big problem for immigrants who don't understand the system here, and they end up stepping into traps, and their credit is improperly and unfairly damaged. And there's also a problem with lower income people in general, mid to lower income people, because it's hard to deal with some of these credit agencies and credit vendors. They're so difficult. They'll put you in a box. And so even though it's unfair what they did, you can't, people give up. People know that they're right. People know that they've been wronged, but they don't know how to deal with it, and they give up, and now they have their credit falls. And then that then, affects other things, their ability to get credit cards, their ability to get a mortgage or whatever. So we're training AngelAi with the rules and the knowledge so that it could do, a certain degree of credit repair, which I think will be able to help at least 50% of the people that need help. It'll be able to help them right off the bat. And so that they don't have to become experts in the, FCRA rules, Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's a whole big complex act and process you have to understand to deal with. And you got to know all the ins and outs of it to get your credit cleaned up.
I got to go back to the gym, man. I got some guys got trained. Two of my guys fighting in Ireland on 23rd on Showtime. Johnny Evans defended his title against Fabian Edwards, the middleweight title for Bellator, and I have a guy named JJ Wilson from New Zealand. He's fighting Mansour Banoui from France. It's a big contender fight right there. So I gotta go there to the gym and help guys get ready.
All right. Well,
all right. Thanks for joining us, King Mo.
So
there's another one. I like to come on again because I like this talk. It's good conversation. Opens my mind up. Because now in the business and fighting a lot of light, I can take a lot of what you showed me and show me and take it to the fight world. I like it.
Excellent. All right. So you got 2 champions coming up, Showtime this weekend. So
third 2 weeks. So
right,
we have
2
weeks. And the next week is travel week. And then, it's time to crack heads.
Super. All right.
Awesome. Well, good luck. Sure you guys don't need it, but we'll be rooting for you guys.
Thank y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, King.
So we're all twinsies today.
Yes.
So if you too want to be twinsies with Pavan, King Mo, and I, go to angelai.com and just tell her you want a t-shirt, and you too will be rocking this sweet AngelAi t-shirt in no time.
Yes, they're like most things in AngelAi, they're completely free. So get your free t-shirt at AngelAi. So Angel, we got 10 minutes left. Got a great audience, and King Mo, what a great guy. So much fun.
So I am here today at the Texas Mortgage Roundup in Dallas. Huge event. Met a ton of brokers, loan officers, some realtors. It was a really fun event. And a question came up that I think a lot of people are, wonder about when they're signing up with AngelAi, that I thought it would be great to have you yourself address and share the message with the people. So this person was downloading the app, the AngelAi app. So go to your app store, Google Play, Apple, iTunes store, search AngelAi, you'll see this ballerina. But when they were installing the app, it said something about like it has access to all of your contacts, and that of course is shocking. So Pavan, can you put the people at ease?
Yeah, so when you install the app, you have the option like yes or no to give access to the contact. You can just say no. It doesn't have to have access to contacts, but it's just like any other messaging system you use, like WhatsApp or anything else. If you give it access to contacts, so that when you use some of those features like invite friends, it can actually get to your contacts and send messages to them. Because that's what you want, is you want emails and text messages sent to your contacts. Right. So if you don't want to give AngelAi access to your contacts, then it will not have that, and you won't be able to use all the features of it, which is fine too. Right. It's your choice, but almost every app you install, it'll ask you for access to contacts.
And you can say yes or no.
Yeah.
So the choice is still yours.
Yes. You're not required to give it access to your contacts. And when you use the app, it also does tell you that whatever data you submit to it becomes the property of the of the tech company Celligence. And the reason that is because any social media platform that you use, that when you go to Facebook and you upload your pictures and whatever you type, it really becomes a property of Facebook. And then they use that to train their AIs. Right? So if you're watching the latest spat between Elon Musk and Zuckerberg, right, they're suing each other over using each other's data, Facebook using Twitter's data and Twitter using Facebook's data to train their AIs. And obviously, we being an AI company, we need the data to train our AI. That's how it gets smarter every single day, is because the more you use it, the more data we have to train it with. But we don't want to have ever a copyright question over who owns that data. So we make it clear and upfront that once you upload it, we have the full rights to use that data. So you, as real estate and loan professionals and other business professionals that will be using AngelAi, it doesn't matter to you because it's being used to train the AI. Right? We're not going to take your, if you're a realtor or your loan officer use this, we're not going to take your contacts and give it to another realtor or give another loan officer. That defeats the purpose. And that would basically take my tech company and make it worthless.
I think sometimes people see the verbiage and then add, jump to worst case meaning. It's just like when you see, there's a headline of someone said this snippet in an interview and makes it sound one way, and then you read the actual what they said and it's like, oh no, that was just clickbait. It feels like that because you see the one line, and of course, rightfully so, the alarms go off because that's the world that we live in, right? But the point is, any app is going to ask you for that, and you have the choice to say no. And the data, again, is for training the AI, so it can better serve us all.
Yeah, and the big difference is the transparency and the philosophy in which I run the business is what we say upfront is buried in other apps. It's buried in the fine print in the terms and conditions. You have to go find the terms and conditions, click through it, and it's like 20 pages, and you have to find that. So what we do is we say, no, that's not right. That's not the proper way to respect your customer, right? The key word here is respect. If I'm treating you with respect, I'm not going to bury something. I'm going to put the most controversial stuff out in front. I'm going to tell you that these are the biggest things that you got to be aware of. So I'm going to make sure you know it full front and center is aware and in your conscience, and not buried in a 20-page terms and conditions. Right, like the 6 months ago, Facebook locked me out, and I couldn't figure out why. Right, and then I started Googling. They call it Facebook jail. and all you get from Facebook is an email that says you violate our terms and conditions. And I go look at the terms and conditions. Like, the thing is like enormous. And like, okay, it doesn't tell me what I violated, what I did wrong. It just says you violate terms and conditions. And then 3 days later, it's turned back on automatically. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Now you're on Facebook parole.
Yes. I have no idea how it works. It's completely opaque. I don't believe that's very customer friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But they do these things. Okay, so the same thing here is, I don't want to be that company that keeps things opaque and difficult to understand and hides things from you and throws you complex legal jargon for pages and pages. I'm going to just put the simplest, boil it down in simple plain English. This is what it does. Right. And if it bothers you, that's, hopefully you'll change your mind later. Right? You don't have to use it. You could, we want you to use it. If you don't use it, okay, I'm sorry. And maybe you'll change your mind later.
And if you have questions, we are live at this time every Wednesday. So 1 o'clock Pacific, hop on the call, join in the live chat and ask those questions directly here to Pavan, and he will answer it live on the spot. Also, if you follow Pavan on social media, you can reach out to him that way and get your answers. So he's readily available to give you that information.
Okay. And last thing, Angel, why don't we show them how to get to a workshop?
Yes. So to go to a workshop, we offer live training every single day on AngelAi. We keep the workshops really small group so that the ratio of participants to trainer is low, so you can get, not one-on-one, but like 5-on-1 assistance using AngelAi. They'll give you some ideas of how you can incorporate AI into your business, and you get hands-on practice. So if you go to angelai.com, chat with AngelAi and just say workshop. She'll get you registered for the next available session. So angelai.com, just chat with her and say workshop. You can also say, I want a t-shirt, and get one of these. So we are just past the hour. This has been fun. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to this channel so that you know when we're going live next, which will be next Wednesday at 1 o'clock Pacific.
Exactly. Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.